Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Volunteer Quarterly Meeting, 19 July 2018. Today, we will follow this agenda. I will provide an introduction of myself. We'll look at no calls and no-shows. We'll discuss how we check IDs in our check-in policy, following with some more general policies. We will look at our calendars. We'll discuss how best to report and confirm hours. And we'll show you how you can obtain a USO Metro volunteer ID card. I will give you an update on airport construction and how to subscribe to airport construction updates. We'll look at our new emergency preparedness disaster recovery plan. And we'll do a quick introduction of Andy and Logan, who are the DCA representatives to the Volunteer Advisory Committee. Towards our conclusion, we'll address the advanced questions that were given before our meeting, and then we'll discuss the questions that were actually given at our meeting. Okay, I'm Marty Jennings, Center Supervisor for Reagan National Airport and Joint Base Andrews Centers. I am U.S. Army retired, 20 years of active duty, served in the Quartermaster Corps. I was in acquisition and logistics. And after that, I did 21 years of federal service as a federal employee, culminating as a member of the Senior Executive Service at GSA, where I was the Assistant Commissioner for General Supplies and Services. And we did about $23 billion in procurement and acquisition for office supplies, industrial supplies, and professional services. I appreciate the opportunity to be here at USO and to work alongside all of you great volunteers. I look forward in supporting the military and their family transiting Reagan and Joint Base Andrews Centers. Let's talk about no calls and no shows. As you know, you can remove yourself 5 days prior to a shift. Once you become locked in, you must contact me to be removed. And you can do that via email at mjennings@usometro.org, or on the day of cancellation, it would be Marty Jennings' cell phone number, 703-966-5804. I need you to call me. If you do not call or email me on the day of cancellation, that is considered a no call, no show. 3 shows makes you inactive, and you will not be able to volunteer for a period of time. When checking our IDs, we should be following this eligibility criteria that's shown in the chart. For active reserve guard and retired military, they are eligible with a active military armed forces ID card. Their dependents are eligible also. 0 to 9-year-olds are not required to have an ID card when accompanied by their parent who has an active armed forces military ID card. Children 10 to 17 years of old require a military armed forces ID card. But if they forget or do not have it on them and they are accompanied with a parent who has an active armed forces military ID card, do not refuse a remittance. Persons who are 18 years of age or older must have a military armed forces ID card. Families of the fallen service members or visiting wounded are eligible to use our facility. Coalition forces are eligible when they present the armed forces ID card that shows them supporting Department of Defense as a foreign military service member. Their dependents are also eligible with the sponsor and their armed forces military ID card. Inductees and recruits are eligible with orders or just the brown manila envelope that has been sealed. Normally they are just in their civilian clothes. They have a packet that they'll give to the inductment site, either Linwood, Missouri, or the Marine Corps base, Navy, Air Force, allow them to use our facilities. If they are traveling with a dependent, a spouse, a child, then they too should be able to use our facility. Gold Star family members are eligible with their Gold Star Installation Access Card. Medal of Honor recipients and their guests is eligible with proof of the Medal of Honor award. They are not required to have a military armed forces ID card. Our Metropolitan Washington Airports Authority Police Department are eligible without qualification, as is Homeland Security officials. The federal air marshals are eligible with a federal ID. Our airport chaplain is eligible, and DCA airport employees are eligible with a military armed forces ID card and proof that they're in travel status. Exceptions to this policy are only made by the USO staff. In this case, it would be myself. Any person who abuses this facility will be disbarred. All eligible visitors to the lounge must be either traveling or waiting a traveler passenger. Checking into the center, if a guest leaves the area here because they're on a cancellation or in the airport for 6, 8, 10 hours, and they want to leave Reagan National Airport and go into Crystal City or go over to DC via Metro, by all means they can do that. But when they check back in, if they're gone for longer than an hour, they need to recheck back in. And the reason for that is that we track services instances, and when they leave and come back again, it's a new instance. And once they sign back in, of course, they can get new snacks and drinks and things that they would like. On general policies, looking at taking snacks from the center, what we don't want is for guests taking large quantities of snacks and going out to the security checkpoint. The exception of that box is, our exception would be a box of Girl Scout cookies, because once they're open, we'd like them to consume the whole box. TSA is, here at DCA, is limiting what snacks that can come through security. So we'll look at getting what that list of things that they're pulling from the folks, so we don't offer up snacks to take with them for our guests that still have to go through security to get to their gates. No politics and no religion. It is against USO policy to publicly utilize any USO Metro affiliation in connection with promotion of partisan politics, religious matters, or positions on any issue not in conformity with the official position of USO Metro. You should not engage in activities that could raise questions as to USO Metro's honesty, impartiality, or reputation, or otherwise cause embarrassment to USO Metro. Your affiliation with USO Metro should not be used to promote your personal activities. This does not preclude participation in private activities by volunteers, provided that your affiliation with USO Metro cannot reasonably be construed as an endorsement of an activity by USO Metro. Let's look at our calendars. And what I want to show you is how easy it is to find the DCA Reagan National Airport calendar and our special events calendar, and how you can easily identify volunteer opportunities and actually register from that. So if we click onto the VMS homepage, it'll come up, and mine's already logged in. So it will show me my profile picture, and I'm able to go over the calendar and come down to Reagan National Airport Center Representative Calendar. I'll click on that, And I'm able to come to the current month, which is July of 2018, and I'm able to see all the positions and opportunities here. All those are gray, the registration is closed, and those positions are filled. And as we come down to the 29th of July, we find that there's an opening on the Reagan sunrise shift, 6 to 9 a.m. If you click on that, you will be able to come to that opportunity. And if you choose that you'd like to register for that, you just click on the registration and it's done. You're registered for that opportunity. What's good here is you can look forward and you can see where there's opportunities. And here we have one for August, one on 9th of August, one on the 12th of August, one on the, it looks like the 18th of August. But we do a pretty good job of filling. Here we have one on the 28th, a afternoon shift that's available. And you're able to see, you can also look at September and you'll see some opportunities there in blue. Let's look at our special events calendar for Reagan National. And I ask that you look at both of these regularly. And what you can see in here is those special events like the Officer Candidate School for Marine Corps class, the weekly lounge snack bin opportunity, our DCA Reagan National Quarterly Volunteer Meeting that we had, Air Force Junior ROTC cadets that came through our facility for July. You can go through 3 months and look at August and what's coming up. Air Force ROTC, September, first week, we have another OCS class in Marine Corps. And so you can go to September, check out. Here you can register. We have a vacancy that's available, and these two are filled already. So please, by all means, look at our calendars and take the opportunity to find out what's available and sign up for that. Let's look at reporting and confirming hours. Again, it's very easy to go into your VMS homepage, and you would come to your site with your profile picture and your profile, and you'll be able to click on the red report hours block, and it'll take you to Hours Manager. And here we're looking at reporting hours, and so you would click on the activity box, and here it would list all the activities that you have. Right now, I have no records that for volunteer hours, but you would have every time that you've registered for a opportunity to volunteer, it would show up in here. You would click on that, you would look at the hours, and if it's 4 hours or 6 hours or 8 hours, it would be showing there. You would be able to click on the hours and say you were scheduled for 4, but you only worked 3, or you were scheduled for 4 and you worked 6. You would be able to scroll up and down on that hour block and change that. And there'll be minutes sitting right next to it, and you can do 15, 30, 45 minutes. So you could work 3 hours and 45 minutes, be able to collect that. You have a start time and end time. And you'll also have a mileage block here. And if you're traveling into USO Reagan and say it's 15 miles, you can enter that in there. And then you would confirm those hours, and that would be a record for you of your hours sent. So you would click on the activity, validate your hours, start time, end time, mileage, and then confirm. And it's that easy. Let's look at the USO Volunteer Community app. There are some people who are not aware that USO has an app that can be used by the volunteer community. And if you want to use that for your cell phone, for your tablet, or your iPhone or iPad, it's a great way to install this and be able to track community activities in the volunteer network. You're able to report and confirm your volunteer hours. You can sign up for shifts, and you can see the latest announcements that's happening in our volunteer community. So if we were to click on to this link for Google app, you would be able to go into your Google app on your, or go into Google Play, if you will, app store, on your cell phone, your Android, or your tablet, you can enter in USO Volunteer Community, and this app will actually come up. You just click on install, and you would install that onto your cell phone or your tablet. Again, what's good about that is you can go into the calendar, you can look at what opportunities are available, you can actually register for a shift there. You can also go into hours, be able to report your hours, and you'll be able to confirm your hours. You can scroll up and down the hours blocked for the actual hours worked versus what was scheduled. You can look at your start time and your end time. You can enter your mileage, and you'll be able to do that from your phone or from your tablet. And if you look at the Apple Store, if you have an Apple iPhone or you have an iPad, you would be able to go to Apple Store, again, search for USO Volunteer Community, and you'd be able to download this app to your iPhone or iPad. Again, it has the activity feed, which shows you the activities that are happening in the USO volunteer community. It has a directory where you can communicate directly with other USO volunteers. It shows your profile. You go into the calendar, be able to register for shifts and see what shifts are available. And you'll be able to go down here to hours. And here you can report your hours, confirm hours that you worked. You can go up 5, 6, 7, 8 hours, go down 3, 2, put in the actual amount of minutes, include the miles that you traveled to the facility, and then confirm your hours. Great, simple, easy tool to use. Download the app, put it on your cell phone, put it on your iPad or tablet. Let's go into uso-metro volunteer ID card. If you want an ID card, please ensure that your photo, a headshot, is uploaded on your volunteer profile. Once you've done that, send me an email requesting that you be issued a USO Metro ID card. Once a month, I will submit to the USO Metro Business Office this month's request for volunteer ID cards. Once the business office has them made, they will notify me and I'll stop by Fort Myers business office and pick them up. I do want you to know right now, our machine is down, it's broken. USO Metro has ordered a new one and it should be in within a relatively short period of time, and we can be back on cycle of issuing US Metro ID cards. When looking at airport construction update, Reagan National Airport provides construction advisories at this website. And what's good about it is that it gives you the current state of what's happening for Project Journey in Reagan National Airport. Also exciting here is if you scroll down this area here, you can actually subscribe to an update and be sent automatically any updates to the Project Journey that affects travelers and workers and volunteers in this facility. Input your address, input your first name, your last name, select these boxes for notifications, sign up, and it's done. You'll get updated as action is really happening within Reagan. It's a great tool. Looking at where we're at today on airport construction, for 2018, we had the pre-construction where, as we all know, the lower level is basically blocked off. They're adding slip ramps and they're putting additional pavement in. On the new security checkpoint construction, the utility relocations are taking place. Foundation and support columns are going into place. They're lifting and securing support beams above the roadway that will affect transportation and transportation and movement in the overnight, and there could be some lane closures expected. There is no impact as it stands today on existing security checkpoint operations. When looking at the actual new concourse construction, you'll see that they've been putting dirt in, fill dirt around the site. It's settling. They're regrading, establishing good drainage for the area, and they're beginning the actual concourse construction. There's no noticeable impact on existing flight operations currently. Looking at the emergency preparedness, our Vice President for Operations, Pamela Horton, recently put out a new emergency preparedness and disaster recovery plan that we have inputted into our how-to book. There's a separate tab at the back of the book, and it provides the actual security plan for us. What's important about that is that it identifies our potential types and causes of emergency, whether they're being historical, geographical, technological, or physical. It also looks at the levels of emergency by tiers. And so you have a tier 1 level emergency, which is like a telecommunication system failure, a computer systems failure, an isolated medical emergency, and maybe some rodent infestation. While a tier 2 level emergency would be a fire, an actual power outage, an HVAC failure, water leaks, flooding, sewer backup, and medical emergency where we need center staff to be involved. It could be an earthquake or workplace violence. While a tier 3 level emergency would be considered a tornado, some community flooding, a hurricane, severe winter weather, hazardous material spill, a bomb threat, active shooter shelter place scenario, terrorism threats, and emergency lockdown procedures. This policy and program provides notification protocol and emergency procedures and USO contact information. It provides my information, John Sabia's information and contact information as a manager Center of Operations, and John Failing as the Director of Center of Operations itself. I want to thank Christine Boltz, Jan Daly, and Dave Coulter for agreeing to be volunteer assistant emergency coordinators, and their information is also in there. We also provide Reagan National Airport contact information for the airport manager, airport operations, and the airport security coordinator. I'd like to introduce Andy and Mickley and Logan Smith. Most of you probably already know who they are, but for those new volunteers and those who don't, Andy and Logan are the DCA volunteer representatives who are advisory members to the Volunteer Advisory Committee for USO Metro. Andy recently went to the Volunteer Advisory Committee, the Volunteer Advisory Committee meeting, and he's got some minutes from the one that he went to, and so I'm going to cover those minutes for him. At the last minute, one of the things they highlighted that was it was USO Metro gear that is available for sale at the Fort Myers business office or at USO Metro site. If you Google USO Metro gear, you will be able to find that link and order form and be able to see polo shirts, t-shirts, water bottles, lanyards, a variety of different USO Metro gear that's available for sale to the staff and volunteers. USO Metro is looking for volunteers to share their USO stories for a new video series on volunteers. So if you have a great story about how you became a USO volunteer or what you've been doing, what attracts you, and why you stay a USO volunteer, please get in contact with me. We'll set you up an interview with Rebecca, and we'll get you your story available for others to see. I am also in the process of setting up relationships with local restaurants and hotels for military customers who are stranded here at the airport because of inclement weather, cancellation of flights, and they have to spend the evening and night here in the facility. We're looking for those hotels that can offer a special discount, especially to our junior enlisted and their family members who are traveling through the DC area and just cannot afford to stay in the DCA Metro hotels in this community. So I'm working on that, and we'll try to get them to get us a special price, and then we'll be able to publicize that. I'm also recently the MWAA management team provided for us a flyer that identifies the military meal vouchers, the restaurants that accept the military meal vouchers for those recruits and young military members that are moving to their first induction station for the Army, Air Force, Navy, or Marines. They normally don't have hardly any money, and so to get a discounted rate for them is something, and so we have a voucher to show what that is. I want to thank Logan and Sharon and Christian for donating to purchase dollies to put it into our lounge closet to move water and sodas from the lounge to, or excuse me, from the closet to the refrigerator without having to carry cases of drinks. Thank you very much. I appreciate that. So let's move on. What I'd like to do now as part of the conclusion is to talk to you about the advanced questions that were asked of me to share at the quarterly volunteer meeting. The first one was to remind volunteers who are the Reagan National Center volunteer representatives on our volunteer advisory committee. And as you know, I just mentioned that that's Andy Logan and Logan Schmidt. Should we need to suggest that we need to revisit security procedures, consider a buzz indoor feature and a electronic bolt lock for our entranceway to our facility. And we are looking at that, and we will see what the costs are associated with that and see if we can get at least the electronic bolt put in case we need to go into a lockdown status. How about an update on the lounge expansion? What I'll tell you about the lounge expansion is that the USO Metro senior management and myself, as well as the Metropolitan Washington Airports Authority's management team, have been talking significantly about the USO Reagan expansion, and we're trying to establish blueprints so that we can lay out the facility and look at how we might be able to do this expansion. Once we have it laid out properly, the MWAA logistics team and their engineering team has agreed to provide us a rough order of magnitude cost of what it would be to do the rehab for our facility. Once we have that estimated cost, then our USO Metro corporate development team is looking to identify corporate sponsors who would help us by financing and providing the funds to actually do this rehabilitation. So it's a work in progress. We're moving out smartly, and I'll keep you updated as we continue to make progress in this adventure. Eligibility rules. There was a suggestion to talk about the eligibility rules and what's the changes, national policy, USO Metro policy, or just policy here at Reagan. And I will tell you that the information that I shared in this slide and that we put into our how-to book is USO Inc. policies across all USOs as far as eligibility criteria for individuals using this services and programs of USO. Wanted to get clarification on when an eligible patron comes into the lounge accompanied by one or more non-eligible individuals, i.e. a family member, a significant other, etc. Good question. When a active duty member carrying an Armed Forces identification card or a military retiree on a space available basis carrying a Armed Forces ID card brings in a guest, be it a fiance, a significant other, or an immediate family member like a parent, a sister or a brother who's traveling with them, I would say yes, they are authorized to be in our facility on a space available basis. If a person brings in more than 2 people and they're outside their immediate family, in other words, their parent, their brother or sister, then I would say that it would be no. But keep in mind, if we're empty and it's just a couple people, I would be inclined to allow people to be in, subject to their understanding that if we start to get crowded, that they would be asked to leave. And the reason for that is we want to be able to account each service, each instance of service to every guest that we provide. Our next suggestion was, can we get the USO location and hours of operation that's presented in the terminal announced also on the airport shuttle buses? And I would say, yes, we can do that. I've corresponded with the airport general management, their area of operations, to have that same message. It talks that USO is available in Terminal A for the hours of 6 a.m. to 10 p.m. Monday through Sunday, 7 days a week. And we'll have that also put on the shuttle bus. It's a work in progress. I'll follow up and tell you when it's effective in future correspondence. Here we had a volunteer notice in the paper last week that TSA has the right to confiscate unopened snacks from travelers as they go through security screening. And DCA is following that practice. There was a recommendation that we have a TSA rep explain to us what is being confiscated and what's allowed to go through security, so that we don't recommend to our guests to take items that's going to be confiscated as they go through security. And we'll coordinate that for our next volunteer meeting in October. But in the meantime, I'll try to get an update and put that out electronically to everyone, so we're not waiting 3 months to get an answer on that. There was a request that we emphasize to volunteers that when they arrive early for their shifts, that they let the volunteers that are on duty finish the shift before jumping in and taking over. We have a lot of professional volunteers here who are really interested in providing quality and effective service, and I really look forward to pulling their duty and their shift that they volunteer for, and they want to complete the whole shift and provide that service to the military and families transiting Reagan National Airport. So I would say let's honor that and allow folks to complete their shifts. There was a recommendation that we include in our resources book travelers' aid information, phone numbers, hour of operations, etc. And I will tell you that we have Bill and Cammie and Tom who's helping me to update our resources book, our how-to book, and our USO volunteer book in our area here. So thank you guys for doing that. And we will update the resources book with the traveler's aid information. The final advanced question was, it's summertime. Please address the USO dress code and wearing of open-toe shoes in the USO Center volunteer space. So I did look at the dress code, and the dress code says that we're to wear casual, clean attire while performing our duties. And that I did speak with leadership at USO Metro, and we had a discussion on the open-toe shoes, and that is possible. And so individuals who would like to wear open-toe shoes can wear open-toe shoes in the USO Center volunteer space as long as they're clean and in good repair. What I'd like to move on to are the questions that were addressed during the volunteer meeting. And someone asked, how can we block controversial TV channels? And what channels or should we block? And what I'll tell you is that I recently received some correspondence from my supervisor, Sean Sabia, and we've identified a few channels that can be blocked, and we can block them through the cable network with Xfinity Comcast. Or, as another volunteer suggested, might we not highlight those channels that are permitted on our TV listing that's at the reception desk and line through the channels that we do not want to be viewing because they're politically very sensitive and sometimes harsh channels that can cause some consternation within our facility. The next area was, sometimes I see 3 people on my shift, and is there any way we can correct it? Because nobody wants to go home early, nor we want to be crammed in our workspace behind the volunteer desk. And I'll tell you to please let me know when you see that, and I'll provide explanation. We should not have 3 people scheduled to work any given day at the reception desk. We should have 2. If we have 3, maybe one of those is a new volunteer who is shadowing, and I'll try to make sure that I inform the other 2 members that they will be training a new volunteer during their shift so they understand the duties and responsibilities that we have on any given day. If there are 3 people in a shift, and the priority will go to the people who have signed up for recurring shifts. If there's 3 recurring shift personnel assigned for that same block of opportunity, then we'll go by seniority, and the 2 volunteers who have the seniority will have that shift, and we'll look at coordinating with that junior volunteer and assigning them a new recurring shift opportunity. The next area was on the pink vouchers that we have on our shelf that provides a listing of hotels that accept the reduced per diem cost for using their hotels while people are traveling into the USO Reagan area for Crystal City. That's not low enough, I think, to support those stranded passengers. And as I said, I'll be working with that list of that's on that hotel, and try to identify where we can get a cheaper rate for stranded personnel on emergency situations, and a possibility of at least a room where they can go shower, clean up, shave, brush their teeth, and get ready for the next day. I did have another volunteer who recommended that we reach out to Andrea, the center supervisor at USO Dulles, and speak to the hotels that her about the hotel managers and hotels that she used and was able to get an agreement on for this policy, and see if they know their sister or brother managers of the same type hotel here in Reagan National Crystal City area, where I might be able to enter into the same type of agreement. The last area that we talked to from the question and issue area was on cleanliness of our facility here in cleaning up the floor. And they asked, did we have a service contract for doing that? And I'm not aware of any service contract that we have in place. That the actual vacuuming of our floor and sweeping of our floor is part of our volunteer daily duties for each shift by our volunteers. That doesn't mean that we can't have our carpet cleaned once a year, and we should do that and make it look better. But what I will say is that we're looking at trying to do a facelift to USO Reagan Lounge here, getting our walls repainted, possibility of getting a separate sponsor to install some new flooring in here, get rid of the carpet. We would take leftover flooring from the Dulles expansion and leftover flooring from the Fort Meade expansion and use that to install and put into our facility here. We're looking at Dell possibly replacing our existing computers here, building a computer shelf about the height of our bar, where we have the table right now with the 2 desktop computers for our guests, installing new monitors on the wall there, and then providing a new monitor and computer for the reception area. Works in progress, but things that we're working on as a whole. Well, that concludes this meeting today. I want to thank you for spending time and joining us either in person or through the video communication that we're doing today. And I want to remind you that if you are doing this video training, then please sign on to the video training calendar, log in on that, and I'll be providing a site where you can actually click onto this and then go ahead and report an hour of training for this video training that you're attending today, and I'll approve that. Again, I want to thank you for your time. Thank you for your professionalism. I believe that our volunteers set the standard for all the volunteers of all the centers, and I really appreciate the service that you provide in supporting our military and family members transiting Reagan National Airport. Thank you and have a good day.